Thanks for checking out Pac-10 Sports Talk. This is segment 2. We're going to talk about Pac-10 predictions in Week 14 of the NCAA football season. We're going to start off with Arizona State playing Arizona. Joel, how's this game going to go down?
Territorial Cup, it's going to be a great game. You have both teams have been losing often recently, but at least Arizona State, you can pinpoint that their losses have been close. One to Stanford, one to USC, of course, their win last week. So they at least been building some momentum. Arizona State, they've lost their last 3 games. 2 of them have been blowouts. You got similar teams. You got great passing offenses. You got Arizona State, which nationally ranks 12th. You got Arizona, which nationally ranks 9th. And they've got pretty decent defenses. They're both around 50 to 56 nationally ranked. But here's why I think Arizona State's going to win. Arizona's going to win. When you look at past defenses, you got Arizona's ranks 30th, and you got Arizona State's ranks 98th. Obviously, a huge advantage there. Also, Arizona State is 106 in turnover margin. They turn the ball over a lot. Arizona does not. Also, on this is you got Osweiler. Although he had a great game against UCLA, this is a big game, and I don't know if he can repeat that. So I'm going to go advantage Arizona on that. And collectively, I'm going to go Arizona 38-21.
We talked about both defenses being very good. Although I would have to say that Arizona's defense is not quite as good as it was after they visited Eugene last week, as we talked about earlier. You know, this game is a real toss-up to me. And if you ask me who's the better team right now, I might have to say Arizona State. But if you ask me who's going to win the game, I might also have to say Arizona State, but only if Brock Osweiler plays. If 3 plays, I'm worried about the turnover possibility there, and against Arizona, you just can't do that. As I said, they do play pretty good defense. Also, if the Sun Devils are playing at home, I would also probably pick the Sun Devils. If they're not, I'm going to have to go with Arizona. That's going to be by the slimmest of margins, 28-26.
Wow, okay.
Also, if it comes down to field goals, Arizona State has a better kicker too. Zendejas. Help me with that. Zendejas. He's good when he's not taunting other teams.
I think I would go with Arizona too in this game. I think Joel's a little bit closer in the prediction. 42-21 is where I would go with this one. Yeah. So next game we want to talk about Washington State playing for a bucket of apples. Jack, what do you think?
Well, it wasn't long ago that Jake Locker was considered the crown prince among Pac-10 quarterbacks. And this matchup, this might be a real life story of the Prince and a Pauper, where they've kind of traded places. Because Jeff Toole now for Washington State, honestly, he wins the statistical matchup in this game. He's thrown for better percentage. He's passed for more yards. When he completes passes for longer than 20 yards by a lot bigger percentage. Still, in the final analysis, when you look at who's going to win this game, Locker has some blue chippers to turn to for some support, and while Jeff Toole, he's still going to be the pauper. He hasn't got any help. So I'm going to go with Washington 31-24.
Right. If you're looking for offense in a game, tune this one out and watch Bad Luck reruns, which will be airing at the same time. But on this, you have some of the worst offenses in not only the Pac-10 but in the nations going at each other. But the advantage definitely would have to go with Washington. Washington State offensively, the one thing that they do marginally well is with Jeffrey Toole. They like to throw the ball, and as porous as Washington's defense is, that's the one bright spot is their pass defense for Washington, which ranks 31st nationally. So I think that will offset Washington State's offense. And then offensively for Washington, I think they're balanced enough. There's enough playmakers with Javon Curse, with Locker, with Polk and Collier, the 2 young running backs. I just think it's too much for Washington State, and I'm going to go UW 24-17.
24-17. I think you guys are giving a lot of credit to Washington State going in and playing Washington and get that many points. Maybe you're going back to the Oregon State game, because I probably think they're good for about 2 field goals. So I'm going to say 21-6.
Woo!
Yeah, I am.
You just lost Cougar Nation.
Well, I like the kicker. Okay, so we got number 2 Oregon playing Oregon State University.
Well, on this, a lot riding for both teams. You got Oregon State has to have this just to be bowl eligible, and Oregon obviously playing for a national championship berth. But what this game comes down to for Oregon State, if for them to be successful, at least in the past, Jaquiz Rogers has had big games. Games that Jaquiz does well, they do well. But the thing is, with Jaquiz in the last 2 Civil Wars, Oregon State in general has less than 200 combined yards. Oregon shuts down, at least recently, Oregon State's offense. Now you look at teams this year who has had success against Oregon, has been teams that can pass the ball. USC put up quite a bit of points. Stanford put up some points. Arizona State put up some points. So will Oregon State be able to? In the last 7 games, Katz, their quarterback for Oregon State, has been averaging only 171 yards through the air and has thrown 7 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Won't have enough. Offensively, I don't think they pose a big problem for Oregon. And offensively for Oregon, again, I think it's just too much offense. I don't see this one being close at all. I'm going Oregon 45-17.
Well, I think fans around the country are asking, is there any way that the Beavers can win this game? As the whole nation watches at Research Stadium. As far as a precedent set for an upset here, I guess Beaver fans could hang their hats on the 2000 season when the Ducks went to the Holiday Bowl and beat Texas. But before that happened, Beavers beat them at Research 23-13. Of course, that was the year they went to the Fiesta Bowl and destroyed Notre Dame 41-9. And admittedly, there haven't been any Beaver teams come along that they can play in the same field with that team more than likely. But in the years that Oregon went to us, also, if you want to look at a precedent for losing this game, in the years that Oregon went to the most important games, the 2 Rose Bowls, one in '95 and one in '09, and then the Fiesta Bowl in '01, the Ducks, during those years when they played Oregon State, they almost got beat by Oregon State in all those years. They won by 3, 4, and I think 3. So in all those years when the Ducks are coming in swinging a big stick, they've had a tough time at playing the Beavers, and the Beavers have played them tough. So if I'm Oregon, I'm not taking this game for granted down at Research Stadium. It's going to be a knockdown drag-out. And but if Chip Kelly has one thing going for him, it's his focus. They're not going to be sidetracked on anything else. They're going to be focused in on this game. So I'm going to go with Chip Kelly, the Ducks, 43-31.
43-31, okay. I mean, of course, it's a Civil War game, a lot of emotion on both teams coming to this game. But I think you're going to see a typical Oregon game. Your Oregon fans are going to be biting their nails in the first half, and in the second half, they're going to start taking deep breaths, relaxing, and enjoying the game, okay? So where I really see this coming out is 45-21 Oregon.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, so we got one more game to talk about. USC going to play UCLA. Jack?
Well, USC has won 10 of the last 11 of these cross-city games. But if Matt Barkley plays and it's the same old self, I'm going to have to pick USC in this. But if he doesn't play and Mustaine has to come in and carry the banner for USC, it might be a different thing. In the last few contests, UCLA has given up in excess of 200 yards in both games, and they've lost both of those games. And against Arizona State, they couldn't stop the pass either. So, UCLA seems to be suffering from some kind of like golfer affliction that you sometimes go through when you're playing golf. Sometimes you go off the golf course, you can't chip, but you can putt. Next time you come out, you can't putt, but you can chip. And it seems that's the way it is with UCLA. There's never a time with UCLA that seems like they're clicking on all cylinders. They never have all phases in tune at one time. So until that happens, they're going to be in for some tough times. I'm going to go with USC 32, UCLA 27.
Yeah, I'm going to go also with USC. I just think offensively for UCLA, too inconsistent, and I think that USC's defense is starting to play better, both on the passing and the rushing defense. Mm-hmm. So I think they will limit UCLA's offense, and then offensively for USC. Barkley may play. He has that high ankle sprain, but whether he plays or not, I think there's enough weapons for them to at least get some points going. I like Ronald Johnson, although he missed an important, could have been touchdown this past week. Yeah. He's a great punt returner. Yeah. And I think the special teams will get them in field position, and it'll be enough to win, and they'll win 28-14.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can't pick USC in this game. And I think my sources tell me that Matt Barkley practiced today and everything looked well. So you can anticipate him being in the game. It's going to come down to 24-14 for me. That's how I see it.
USC?
USC for sure.
Nice.
Okay, thanks for checking out the predictions for Pac-10 Week 14. Tune in to the next season. We're going to talk about some national games. I'm Donovan.
Joel.
And Jack.
Thanks again.